For the longest time, there were little to no products on the market that were enduro or motocross style boots that were waterproof for us adventure riders. Now this Gaerne SG22 came out a year and a half ago. I just got these a few weeks ago. These are my first impressions. What's up my biker friends, welcome back to another video. Let's talk about boots, waterproof Goretex adventure boots, or actually these are motocross boots. Now for the longest time I've been looking for a boot that has the same level of protection as an enduro or motocross style boot will bring, and for the longest times there were very few or no products at all on the market. Now the initial boots that I had when I started adventure riding, which was mostly on the road, were boots like this here. So I've got a brand new CD, this is an Adventure 2 CD boot, Goretex boot. They're called adventure boots. They have really, there's not much adventure about it. They look like an adventure boot and the protection that you would normally require, but they only look like that. So they're good touring boots if you stay on the road, but the moment you go on off-road environments, you see that if you start bending these boots, there's not very much protection in there, ankle protection and hyperflexion, all those things that motocross boots provide. So I was looking, towards the motocross enduro style boots, if there's anything that has Goretex in it. And for a long time, there was nothing. The first product that came to market was the Alpinestar Tech 7. That boot's been around for many years, and it's a very favorite with a lot of motorcycle riders. They didn't put Goretex in it. They put their own sort of dry star membrane into the boot. So I bought the boot. Was quite happy about it, did a video on it, it's also on the channel. But the problem with that boot was that it started leaking. It's not so much the membrane as it is the quality of the manufacturing. I had to send the boot back in to Alpinestar, get a new pair. Same thing again after 2 weeks of riding with the boot. Somehow there was a lot of water coming in, so I was still in the market for another boot. I decided for another Alpinestars, the Toucans. I don't have them here at the moment, but they're very similar to these CDs. They're probably at the upper tier of the adventure boots. They have some protection and they have Goretex membranes in it. Work quite well. Now on my last ride to the Balkans, I started leaking again. And here I found myself looking for another boot. Did my research, came across these Gaerne boots. Now if you guys are motocross guys or enduro guys, you know the brand Gaerne is an Italian brand, just like CD and Alpinestars. They make some of the best sort of motorcycle boots on the market. Now they have their top of the line model, which is the SG22. Came out a few years ago, and they had the option now with the Goretex membrane. I was really lucky to come across this because this is exactly what I was looking for. A enduro style boot that has the maximum level of protection with a Goretex membrane. This is the only product on the market at the moment. Now I'm relatively new to this. I've had it on 2 tours so far. It's been good, but I haven't really had a long sort of rain ride to see that. I did my sort of typical water bucket testing. Actually, this time was a bathtub. I filled it up, put the boots on, and just kind of walked around in the bathtub just to see if the membrane would hold up. That's the minimum test. But I think the longevity test I will have to see after, I don't know, tens of thousands of kilometers if that boot still holds up. If you guys are in the market for something that is that protective with the Goretex membrane, definitely have a look at this one. You have to know though that these boots are extremely stiff. I mean, that's the kind of the characteristics of a motocross style boot. There's very little flex in it that makes them super safe. I mean, you can just go and just imagine, hit your bike on it or something like that. That's great, but there's very little sort of motion that you have with your feet. It's a bit harder to shift. That's one of the things that took me a while to get used to, the shifting part. I'm getting better, still hitting false neutral every once in a while. When it comes to comfort, they're extremely comfortable for the stiffness of the boot. They have a pretty wide sort of toe box. If you're like someone like me that has pretty wide and flat feet, a wide toe box really helps with the comfort end of it. Walking in, I don't think it's a big problem. If you're used to like ski boots and something, I don't think that's a big problem. I think the biggest issue coming from sort of adventure style boots like these CDs here to this is just the stiffness and the shifting. That's the only thing that really is a bigger issue. Other than that, probably have to see if your pants fit over the boots. I've got really wide Climb Badlands pants that barely fit over the boots. So if you got really narrow pants, you know, you can put your pants in the boots, but then kind of defeats the purpose of having a waterproof boot because all that water is going to come through the top. So these are things you may have to consider. And then there's the price point. This is probably the most expensive thing you can buy to put on your feet on a motorcycle. These are 750 euros and up. So one of the most expensive things you can buy. So you have to consider that as well. But if you need the most protection that you can get on a motorcycle, especially if you take one of these big beasts off-road, something to consider. Now, if you think you're new to off-road riding and you don't really need something like this, or you can't afford it, well, think about this. If you're starting out, and when I started out, I crashed the bikes so many times, countless times, because if you're learning, you will be going down a lot more than someone that is more experienced. So if someone needs boots like this, it's the beginners and the people that are learning. So if you're new to this, if you're starting out, do yourself a favor and get a good boot. And I have a little story to tell. The last trip that I did, the last adventure country trip that we did to Greece, my good buddy here in Munich, Jochen, he had boots that weren't even half as protective as these CDs. These are Daytona boots. They're made in Germany, excellent quality, good Goretex protection, all that's great, but they have very little protection when it comes to ankle protection, hyperflexion, all those things. And it wasn't even a difficult section in Greece where he fell, but when he did, he kind of sort of twisted his foot and broke his foot. It took him out for 6 months. Luckily, he healed fast and all that. But I would say if he had a boot like this, he wouldn't have broken his foot. So it's something to consider. Get this boot before this happens to you, or something similar, or get a motocross boot and just don't care about the water protection if you need both. At the moment, this I think is the only product on the market that fits the bill. Guys, if you have questions, comments, put them in the comments section. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, ride safe and stay awesome.